Hi bestie, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're a returning subscriber, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for the loyalty. I appreciate it with all my heart. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? You have you have no excuse. What are you waiting for? Please hit the subscribe button. Feel free to share this video. Feel free to comment. Let's engage each other. If you feel like there's anyone that can resonate with this video, feel free to share it with whoever the person is. Today we're going to discuss recurring vaginal infections. If you're someone that tends to experience this, if you're someone that tends to treat yeast infections, bacterial infections every other day, this is the right place for you. If you're not that person, we can still be here to learn. We can still be here to talk about talk about prevention methods. If you're not that person, maybe you probably know someone that keeps complaining about the same. Feel free to share this video with the person, because essentially I do a deep dive. I educate myself so that you don't have to. I make it simple. I break it down. That is the whole point of this channel. I break down every topic that may seem complex, that maybe you may be embarrassed to bring it up to your friends or any other person. I am going to do the research for you and make it as simple as possible. I'll make it very simple. I'll simplify it very well for you to understand, for you to grasp it. And yeah, I enjoy doing that. I enjoy doing that because in the process I also get to learn. I also get to educate myself. So thank you so much for tuning in. So we're going to discuss a few reasons why you tend to treat infections every other day. You tend to go to the hospital every other day because of the same reason. We're going to discuss a few causes, a few possible causes, a few potential reasons why you are in that position. So let's just dive right into it. The first possible, I'm going to say possible because it could be one or the other, as in it's not, as in it's a possible reason. So the first possible reason is untreated diabetes. If you have, if you're so prone to yeast infections, it's possible that your body is trying to tell you that you have to get your blood sugars checked, your blood sugar levels checked. Because as we all know, yeast tends to thrive so well in high sugar areas, in high sugar places, in high when your body when your high sugar when your level of sugar is way too high, then you're going to find yourself prone to yeast infections, because yeast tends to do so well in areas that has a lot of sugar. So if your body is trying to talk to you and tell you that you have high levels of sugar, as in that is diabetes type 2, high levels of sugar, it may manifest by your body being so prone to yeast infections. I hope that is simple enough. I'm trying to simplify it as I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. That is why I tend to think so much about it. It's because I'm trying to make it very simple, because like I mentioned, that is the whole point of this channel, to make complex topics as simple as they come. So our bodies tend to communicate to us. It's just that sometimes we may ignore our bodies, but our bodies are naturally meant to communicate to us. They are meant to troubleshoot. Essentially, that is what it happens. As in, if there's a problem somewhere, another thing is going to try to communicate to you that babe, I think you have to get yourself checked on this side. So if you find yourself prone to, your body does not listen to medication, then you should probably go get checked for this, if your levels of sugar is the right amount. I hope that is clear. Number one. Potential reason number two is pregnancy. Women that have high levels of the hormone called estrogen are more likely to suffer from infections, from recurring infections. That is because, as in, if your hormonal balance is, if you have high levels of a certain hormone, your hormonal balance is going to shift. Your pH levels are going to shift. So if you're pregnant, or if you're using oral contraceptives that are very high on estrogen levels, then you're more likely to suffer from recurring vaginal infections. So you can get yourself, if you start struggling from it and you've not gotten yourself checked for pregnancy, maybe it's time you try to do that. You can get yourself checked for pregnancy, or you can try to, now if you're not pregnant, if you're so sure that you're not pregnant, and you are taking some oral contraceptives, maybe it's time you check if they have way too high levels of estrogen, because that could possibly shift your pH levels. That is possible reason number 2. So possible reason number 3 is your hygiene, your personal hygiene and your environmental hygiene. You could be showering the right way, or maybe you could be showering every day, but you're not showering the right way. Or maybe you could be showering the right way and you could be, maybe your washroom, the washroom that you use maybe at work or at school, maybe if you're sharing washrooms with other people, it's time that you check for, like, if is it clean enough. And another thing, if you're using a public toilet, as in, babe, do not sit on that thing. If you're using a public toilet, a toilet that you're not using on your own, maybe you're using it at work or maybe at school, you should try as much as you can not to allow your vaginal area to get in contact with the water, because when you're peeing or when you're taking a shit, the water is going to splatter back to your vaginal area. Try as much as you can to prevent that. If you're using latrines or toilets that don't have a bowl, I'll I'll be very, like, I'm trying to be as graphic as possible. I'm trying to explain it very simply so that it's easier for all of us to grasp what I'm trying to talk about. There are latrines. There are these toilets that don't have a bowl. I'll try to insert pictures of what I mean. If you are bending down and as in that area is not clean, of course you're not the only person that has used the toilet, the water is going to splatter back. You're going to expose yourself to the possibility of constructing maybe candidiasis or any other infections, because you're peeing, you're bending down, you're literally bending down, so your vagina is very much exposed to everything that is down there. Another person's urine, maybe the person has infections, or just that do you, like I mentioned before, like I always mention all the time, our vaginas are quite sensitive, and everything that goes in there is going to have some kind of effect on you. So try as much as you can to squat. Do not bend. Don't bend all the way down if you're using a pit latrine or you're using a toilet that doesn't have a bowl. If you're using a toilet that has a bowl, try to flush before you use the toilet. Okay, that is like whether you are going to squat or not, ensure that you flush, because obviously someone used the toilet before you. I'm speaking especially for people that maybe you've gone to the washroom at work or maybe at school, or just a toilet that you're not using on your own. Try as much as you can to ensure that your vaginal area does not get in contact with the water or just the environment around. It's not good. About showering. About showering. When you're showering, when you're washing your private parts, like I said before in my previous video, if you've not watched it, just try and find it. You are not supposed to use strongly scented soap on that area. You are not supposed, I'll say it again, you are not supposed to use any strongly scented soap or shower gels on your vaginal area. It does not need it. It does not need it. Just warm water is fine. Plenty of warm water. That is all. That is fine. Do not dodge. Do not. Do not. And also, do not insert weird things like yoni piles, or like I discussed that on a previous video. You can check it out if you have not already. I said that those things are not necessary. You don't need that. Another thing could be bacterial transfer. When you're showering, when you're washing your ass, when you're washing your ass, I am assuming we all do that. Please do not tell me that you don't. Do not tell me that you don't wash your ass. So let me assume that we are all sane people, that we all wash our asses. When you're washing that part, make sure that you're not transferring the dirt and the bacteria from back to front. Make sure that you're not doing something like this, like you're washing from back to front. It's essentially the same thing as when you're wiping, when you've used the washroom. When you're wiping, you don't wipe from back to front, you do the opposite. So when you're also showering, ensure that you're not doing bacterial transfer. Ensure that you're not washing from back to front. So that is the thing. That is the point about personal hygiene and environmental hygiene. That could also be another cause. Another possible cause could be if you have compromised immunity because of maybe you're struggling with HIV or any other disease that could compromise your immunity. I'm sorry, your immunity. What is immunity? Anyway, if you have sometimes, like I said before, like I've said it a million times, our bodies are very smart creatures. Like, they communicate. Maybe you have not gotten yourself checked for HIV for a long time. If you struggle so much with this infection, and like you've used all kinds of medications, you've done everything and it's not helping, babe, I think it's time you go get yourself checked for HIV. I'm not trying to get you scared. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm just trying to tell you that sometimes, HIV compromises our immunity. So sometimes when your body's immunity has been compromised so much, like it is not as strong as it used to be, or it's not as strong as it's supposed to be, it's going to, like, you're going to be prone to this kinds of infections, all sorts of infections. So if you have not gotten yourself checked, and we are usually advised to get ourselves checked for like within 3 months, within a span of 3 months. I know it may sound like a lot, but you may be doing everything, you may be like, you're faithful and all, but your partner can expose you to these kinds of things. So it's just important to get yourself checked every once in a while. And yeah, don't listen to people that say that thing that you're looking for every time you're going to get it. No, it's best to get yourself, just to be aware of your body. Ignorance sometimes is not bliss. I know people say that ignorance is bliss, but sometimes ignorance is not bliss. So if you are getting yourself, as in if you find yourself so like you're fighting yeast infections every other time, then you should probably get yourself checked for, if your immunity is okay, if your immunity has not been compromised. It's not only HIV that can compromise your immune system, so you should consider that as well. Yeah. Another possible cause of struggling with this thing is overusing antibiotics. And there are certain types of antibiotics. Antibiotics, as in, antibiotics are like, they fight bacteria. You know that. So if you're ill, as in if you're sick, maybe you have a bacterial infection somewhere that is not even there, like just anywhere you have a bacterial infection. Maybe you have been given some very strong antibiotics. There are certain types of antibiotics that are not very friendly when it comes with women, because they tend to, our vaginas have our vagina have the healthy bacteria. I'm trying to explain it very simply so that it's not complicated to anyone. Our vaginas have the good bacteria that help us fight infections, that keep our pH levels balanced, that make us healthy, that makes our vaginas healthy. Our vaginas have the good bacteria. But now if you're using antibiotics, they fight bacteria. They don't have a way to differentiate the good and the bad, so they're going to fight bacteria off your body. So in the process, they could also fight the good bacteria, and now your vagina has been left defenseless, because the good bacteria help us to fight against some infections. So now you have used antibiotics that was helping you to flush off whichever kind of bacteria that you have in your body. But these antibiotics have gotten rid of even the good bacteria that you need to keep your pH levels balanced. Are you understanding me up to that point? So now your vaginal area has been left defenseless, and as in, it cannot fight itself against these infections. Are you getting me? So that is why I'm trying to tell you that if you try to use an antibiotic and you notice that you're itching, or you just have some weird discharge or foul smell after you've started to use a certain antibiotics, just talk to your doctor. You probably are allergic to that particular antibiotic, or it has shifted your pH level. So just discuss it with your doctor. Don't wait until you finish the dose, because you're going to fight the bacteria that you're fighting, and yet you're bringing yourself another problem. So just try to be open with your doctor. Tell them that I used this and I have started to notice this happening. They're going to know what to do. They're going to get you another drug that is going to counter whatever it's happening. So I hope that is simple enough. I hope I've simplified that enough. So the other potential reason could be your diet. Yeah, your diet. Because if you consume food, there's research that has proved that if you consume food that are so high on sugar, you are going to be prone to yeast infections. That is basically what I discussed before. I think I made this point, but now I'm speaking in terms of diet. If our bodies are struggling in any way, in one way or another, they're going to communicate to us. So if your diet is not as good as it's supposed to be, then it could try to communicate to you in another way. Do you get, like, if maybe you don't eat balanced diet, you don't eat, by the way, do you know that you are, most of the time, you smell like what you eat? Not literally, of course, but to a certain extent. If your diet is not good, if your diet is not as in balanced, if your diet is not right, I know we have sweet tooth. I know we like our chocolates, we like our candies, we like all these things, we like all this sugary stuff. But if your body is trying to communicate to you that maybe you're taking too much, maybe it's time for you to tone it down a little bit, because like I mentioned before, yeast thrives a lot in high sugar areas. So you could probably check your diet, and also not about what you're eating, it could also be about what you're not eating. Our bodies need our bodies need a lot of enough water. Let me not say in a lot. Our bodies need fruit. There are so many things that our bodies need, that natural antioxidants that our bodies need, that if you're in a position to, you could be including them in your diet. That way, you're going to save yourself from so many trips in and out of the doctor's office. So many trips. There are some of these things that can simply be fixed by what you eat. You don't even need to go to hospital. I'm not anti-hospital. I'm not telling you not to go to hospital. I'm just saying that there are some of these things that can be fixed simply by changing your diet. A lot of these things. I'm not speaking about women alone. This is all inclusive. This is all inclusive. It's about men and women as well. If you include the right healthy foods in your diet, you're going to find, even you can go without deodorant, and your sweat is not poisonous, your sweat is not intoxicating. You will notice it. If you start to eat right, you're going to notice it. Trust me, you will notice it from your body smell, like your urine, even when you pee, the smell of your pee, when you go to the washroom, when you poop, the smell of your poop. There are people that when they use the toilet, like, any person within a close range is going to just die. That is not healthy. It's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be when you go to the washroom to poop, people will have to find somewhere else to hide because the whole environment is intoxicated. That is not healthy. That is also another way of your body trying to tell you something is wrong. Probably you're not drinking enough water, or you're not taking enough fruit. Just check on your diet, essentially. That is what I'm going to say. Your diet is going to affect so many things, so many factors of your life, even other ones that you don't know about. I'm not saying that you should just eat vegetables alone, but I'm trying to tell you that you should not eat too sugary foods. You should not ignore your diet. Don't ignore your diet. That's what all I'm trying to say in short. So I think I've covered the most part. I will try to do more research. If I have any more information, I will make sure to include other ones. And also, you, wherever you're watching me from, if you know something that can help someone fight this, maybe out of your own experience, it doesn't have to be experience, but maybe out of what you have researched, what you have been told by your doctor, anything, any kind of information, let us feel free to comment. Let's help each other out on this topic. And I hope this video has been helpful. I've really tried to make it as simple as possible. I've tried to simplify it as much as I can, so that no one is going to struggle with comprehending what I'm talking about. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really will appreciate a thumbs up if you have learned something, if you have enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it. So I will appreciate a thumbs up. I will appreciate a new subscriber. Even if it's just one, I will really appreciate. And my existing subscribers, I love every single one of you, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for for saving your time. Thank you so much for sitting through this. And I'll see you on my next one. Bye.